Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our NXT review. And I'm going to be succinct with all you guys. This was a very fun episode of NXT for me. Some solid matches, some great segments, and just a nice episode to build towards NXT Our Evolution coming December 11th. Ashton, what did you think of it?
And that's really the name of the game, is just building towards that live special, and they have been doing a phenomenal job of it, and I fully suspect next week to be even more somehow or another geared towards building towards that, because if there is one thing that NXT does, and it does it really well, it is building towards live specials and having that blow-off point.
Completely agree with you. With that said, let's get right into our first segment, Heat of the Night. And I have zero heats of the night tonight. I had no complaints about this show. What about you?
No, absolutely not. This show was, I won't say it was flawless, but it was about as close to flawless as you can imagine the show being.
Yeah, I feel like all things considered, the show was really on point. So with that said, let us get right into our NXT review. And brother, how do we open this show up?
With Tyler Breeze!
I know, because nothing is better than open up a show with a little bit of gorgeousness. Tyler Breeze comes out, taking those selfies, and we find out his opponent is probably the most perfect opponent Tyler Breeze has had to date, Marcus Louis. And he comes out, towel draped over his head, hiding his face, looking all disoriented, looking all out of sorts.
Can we just say, I just want to say something though, like, the fact that he came out to no music added so much.
Definitely, I love it. It was like when Kozlov first started and he came out with no music and he just dominated people and built up a straight. Like, there's a certain allure, a certain eeriness to that.
Almost like a mystique.
Exactly, and I think with Marcus Louis that works so much to his favor.
Yeah.
So he comes out, no music, and to your point when we're watching the show together, no knee pads. So
yeah, that was, man, that's just like, Cesaro pulled it off because he has like crazy muscular legs and he has the build for it. And Marcus Louis, it just was freaking creepy, man.
But you know what, for an opener, because as far as actual in-ring action goes, like, there really wasn't much, and we'll get to that in a segment. What this match was really about was the body language to me.
Yeah.
Because Marcus Louis looked so reserved and, again, out of sorts. Tyler Breeze looked utterly repulsed.
And you know what the great thing was to me? The crowd was trying to encourage Marcus. Like,
yeah.
There were "we" chants when he was first coming out. When he got in the ring, there were Marcus chants. The crowd wanted him to feel better about himself. And Tyler Breeze just crapped all over that.
Yeah, he did. Because he gets on a microphone and he says, "Do you seriously expect me to wrestle the Uggo of all Uggos?" And, like, he just verbally rips apart Marcus Louis. Pretty much says, I mean, seriously, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this Lord of the Rings thing where you're a Golem and I'm your Precious, all right? We're not doing it. And that gets a Precious chant going from the NXT crowd.
They were really active tonight.
Yeah, they were. That's why I love the NXT audience. I think of every show that you and I do a review of, the NXT audience is consistently my favorite on a weekly basis. And Tyler Breeze is asking everybody, I mean, have you seen it? Because you've got to see it. And he reaches over, he pulls the towel over Marcus Louis' head. Marcus is now, he's left his comfort zone. And you can tell he's just so jolted by it because he's making faces like,
I don't know if this guy really has a comfort zone right now.
Yeah. And Tyler Breeze is just saying, it's disgusting. You're hideous. No one is ever going to love you, Marcus. No one is ever going to love you. Now here, when they normally do things like this, you would think that well, I guess in this case, Marcus Louis would be the babyface with the crowd encouragement and Breeze, tearing him down.
Yeah.
When a character like Marcus is getting berated, the normal route is that they snap, and it doesn't necessarily mean they'll win, but they'll get a flurry of offense. Yeah. That doesn't happen with Marcus here.
No, he just gives up.
He gives up, eats the beauty shot. Breeze gets the win, and what scares me is I'm so happy Bree's got the win, and that was such an amazing segment. But as Marcus Lee is walking up the back, he's pointing at the people and he's going, "You, you." Now,
there was a moment there where he actually kind of looked like a bald Woody Harrelson.
Yeah. What I'm really hoping for, guys, I'm hoping this doesn't turn into another Kane thing, because I think Kane pulled it off, where, you know, the fans were encouraging Kane, you know, take off the towel, embrace yourself, and he always thought people were making fun of him, and ultimately, you know, he turned heel.
Right.
I don't want that to happen with Marcus. I kind of like this idea of this crowd encouraging him and him becoming comfortable in this new skin. Doesn't mean that I don't want him to lose whatever edge he's got going on up there, but I don't think you have to be a full-blown villain to do that. I don't know. I'm really intrigued where they're going to go with Marcus Louis here.
Yeah, absolutely. After this match, we got Enzo and Big Cass. They came out, and Enzo did his shtick on the mic, the beginning to end, man, all of it. And after he finishes that up, he introduces Carmella, who is, and I quote, hot as hell, and you can't teach that. And then she comes out doing her best impression of Sasha Banks, which just falls flat. And basically, she gets in the ring, and we get more of Enzo and Cass on the mic. They're excited. They're hyped up. They're talking about how this is going to be the most highly anticipated rematch in WWE Divas history, and the crowd is chanting, "Blue pants, blue pants." And he says, "Old blue pants, get on out here." And she comes out, and when she gets out there, she's all hyped up and she's happy, and apparently she enjoys the fact that they only know her as Old Blue Pants, and she's bouncing up and down and going crazy and getting into the crowd and everything. And next thing you know, Big Cass gets on the mic and he says, "In the blue corner, we've got Old Blue Pants, who doesn't know she's about to get murked."
Yeah, and murked does she get, because the bell rings, and Carmella is just all over Blue Pants, who I know when I read the match listing on No DQ, they actually listed her real name, but I'm just going to refer to her as Blue Pants because I can't even recollect it now. And yeah, Carmella was just in complete control. I feel like their first match was more competitive than this, because at least Blue Pants got a sudden near fall there. She didn't really get anything here.
No.
And yeah, Carmella was all over her. And then
I don't know how much I like this, man. I actually wanted to, before we moved into our NXT review, I wanted to talk about this as a nitpick. I don't know how to explain what my thoughts are here. It's like, first of all, does NXT realize that Carmella is coming off as a major heel?
Right.
Second of all, do the NXT writers realize that pairing her with Cass and Enzo is going to make the crowd have to choose, because they aren't going to be happy about both of them, because Carmella is trying to split Enzo and Cass up by favoring Cass and all that stuff. And third of all, if they do know all this stuff, what's the end game?
And that's the most important question to me, because I would say with 1 and 2, I would say they possess that self-awareness. That's just how much faith I have in them.
Yeah, and I would hope that you're right, but it's segments like this make me really wonder.
Yeah, and I completely understand. Me personally, I was disappointed Blue Pants lost. I wanted her to get the win here.
Well, that's again though, that's good heel work on Carmella's part, but
right.
I don't know if it's intentional or not is the problem.
Right. And to me, well, we think back, Ashton, to, what was it, like a week or two prior with her match with Emma, and we noticed that she had very heelish tendencies with some of the maneuvers she would use to gain an advantage in that match.
Yeah.
I think NXT realizes, yeah, she's a heel. And really, to further your point, because Carmella gets a submission win, and I think she does have a name for her finisher, but I can't recollect it at this time. But, you know, she does get the submission. Credit to Blue Pants, she tried hanging on, but ultimately she does tap out. But after the match, she hugs Big Cass, you know, like, "Oh, thank you, thank you." Enzo goes in for a hug. He gets pie-faced. And the crowd reacts like, "Oh." And Enzo's like, "You freaking kidding me, Carmella?" And you know, like, all that stuff. So, clearly, I do think they're going down the path that you're maybe fearing or postulating that they're going down, and that's that Carmella is favoring Cass, and we're going to see a chasm arise between Enzo and Big Cass. However, much like the Marcus Louis storyline, because I see the parallels with Kane and I want Marcus to go a different route, I would love to see this be a story, not necessarily about one guy betraying another guy because of a female interest, but rather the bonds of friendship. And I'd like to see these guys come closer than ever.
Completely.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a family-friendly product. It's a kid's show. I mean, some of the most important people in a kid's life are going to be their friends. And I think it'd be a great opportunity, you know, show that freaking friendship, man. Represent. So, here's to hoping that happens. Because I don't mind Carmella as a heel, and I actually think she does have great heel potential, especially paired with these guys, because the NXT universe is so affectionate towards Enzo and Ben Cass that this woman coming in and trying to split them up, that's not going to be looked at favorably at all. I just hope that they take that in kind and say, okay, Enzo, Cass, the finish is you wash your hands clean of Carmella and you get tighter than ever. So here's to hoping.
Yeah, absolutely. Up next, we had a Finn Balor promo where the interviewer guy just kind of asked him how he felt going into his NXT solo debut match, and he just kind of said that he was looking forward to it, and he ended up telling Tyson Kidd to make a DVD of tonight's match and send it to his Uncle Brett in the mail.
Yeah, you know, I gotta be honest. I'm crazy about Finn Balor. I think the guy can get it done, but I think he needs to work on his promo chops. I wasn't really crazy about this work here.
There wasn't really anything to this. This was like not even 30 seconds probably. So like what kind of, and he doesn't really have any beef with Tyson. So what material, maybe he could have taken a shot at the marriage, but maybe he feels like he's above that. I don't know.
It just came off as awkward to me. I mean, I know it was a brief promo. But,
I don't know if I would even say awkward. I would just say unsubstantial.
I mean, I don't know. I'll have to see when he gives a more extensive promo. I just really wasn't like wowed here. But then again, like you said, it's only 30 seconds. So how much can you really extract from such a minimal promo? But yeah, I mean, hopefully it's not an issue because he's so great everywhere else.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I want to say about that.
Up next, we got the Lucha Dragons in a non-title match against the team that John and I refer to as the All-Americans, because I don't know if both of them are, but at least one of these guys is a former college amateur wrestling All-American. Possibly both of them. I don't know. This was really, and I feel like I'm saying this more and more now, it's basically the Ascension as tag team champions all over again. This was basically a Lucha Dragons exhibition match.
Yeah, it really was, which it actually makes me look.
And really, specifically, it was like a Kalisto exhibition match.
Yeah, definitely. Completely agree with you on that. And that's why I'm even looking more forward to NXT R Evolution, because I do feel like they'll have a legitimate bout over those tag titles, and it won't just be another exhibition match. Interesting thing to note outside of the champions, Jason Jordan and Ty Dillinger have yet another miscue at one point during this match, and commentary harped on it. Now, the reason I mention this is because I've been reading reports for a while now, and if this goes through, this will take the taste of the failed mechanics project out of my mouth, though who knows if they'll ever reemerge. Apparently there's going to be a stable, this like big faction, of all amateur / like shoot-esque wrestlers, and Jason Jordan is supposed to be one of the members of that. So I wonder if him and Ty Dillinger are going to be splitting up soon. And Jason Jordan
who else is rumored to be in it? Him and Swagger and Dolph Ziggler, or what?
No. It would be.
Or are we talking just NXT?
Just NXT guys.
Oh, well, who the heck else is there?
It's going to be Jason Jordan, Sawyer Fulton, and 3 other guys. It's going to be a 5-man group.
Oh wow!
And
Sawyer Fulton is awful.
I don't know, man. I mean, that's just what I've been reading. I wish I could remember who the other 3 guys were, though, because I think I was surprised by 1 or 2 of the names in there.
Okay. Wow, I mean, hey, man, it's NXT, so I'm open to anything, but that doesn't sound like something that I would be able to get into.
And see, you know me, I'm crazy about that kind of stuff, so I'm like chomping at the bit, and I'm just wondering now if like the time of Jason Jordan and Ty Dillinger being a team is close to up.
I think that's a disappointment too, because I really enjoy their work together, but I feel like Ty Dillinger is the standout in that group, not Jordan.
Yeah, and you've been saying that for a while now.
Yeah.
And yeah, Ty Dillinger definitely has an upside, and to me, I would just hope that he wouldn't get lost in the shuffle and that they'd be able to do something with him in singles.
Right.
If he doesn't come along for a ride, so.
All right, well, hey, that being said, we can talk about this match. It was a really fun match, especially the Kalisto once Kalisto got tagged in.
Yeah, Kalisto's hot tag is really exciting. Does a lot of great high-flying offense. Him and Sin Cara.
I mean, even as soon as he gets in there, when they have him do that wheelbarrow senton, it's just awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm telling you, this guy is probably one of the most exciting performers on NXT's roster. I love it. I absolutely freaking love it. And I'm telling you, when him and Sin Cara come up to the main roster, their merchandise is going to be ridiculous. I think they're going to be so over with the main crowds. I think they're such a great fit after the Ascension, such a great contrast to the Ascension, that we're all power and dominance. These guys are flair and excitement and all that other stuff. And yeah, they're killing it right now as tag team champions. And Kalisto's finisher, which he hit on Jordan for the pin here, the
Salida del Sol, or as they just call it, the SDS now.
Yeah, I mean, that was great.
Yeah.
And yeah, Sin Cara and Kalisto keep rolling on. But before we move on, I just pulled up an article. It would be called the Shoot Nation, and I remember now why I originally got excited about it, because, and I know you'll recognize one name because I know how you are on him. The group is going to feature NXT stars Chad Gable, Jason Jordan, Sawyer Fulton, Tucker Knight, and Angelo Dawkins.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Are those 5 guys all seriously former amateur wrestlers?
Yeah.
Holy crap. I literally, John, I have never even heard of the other 2 guys. Like, obviously I know about Fulton, and I think he's awful. I know about Jordan, and I still think he's too freaking green to give any kind of a serious push, but in a faction it could work. I know about Angelo Dawkins, but I like him for the fact that he has a black hipster gimmick, which is like he's playing off of like the Kendrick Lamars of the world, and now they're going to take that away and be like, no, you're an amateur wrestler, you're a shoot fighter. And those other 2 guys, like I said, I've never even heard of. So I definitely, if I had to say if I would approve of this idea, I would definitely not approve of it. I don't like this idea at all.
I'm so excited for it, especially Chad Gable and Tucker Knight. Like, I don't even know
who even are they? How are you excited if you don't even know who they are?
Well, that's just it. Fresh meat on the horizon, man. That's something to be excited about. I mean, if it's a crapshoot, fine. You say that it was. But if these guys really show up and they impress, because apparently Gable's going to be the mouthpiece.
Oh, wow.
So that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody like
Ryan
for stable.
Well, and they need a mouthpiece because none of those guys can talk that we know of.
Right. I know, man. I mean, hey, NXT is a petri dish to try all sorts of things out and see what works and see what doesn't. Yes. So I'm perfectly comfortable with something like this being experimented on. Better here than on the main roster where, they would just get eaten alive. At least the NXT...
Let me just put it this way. I'm cool with this as long as 2 precedents are met. First of all, I think that they should let Angelo Dawkins keep the hipster thing.
Right.
But secondly, and most importantly, give Ty Dillinger a singles push.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I would agree with that.
Because the only way he gets on TV now is in the tag team with Jason Jordan. And the other way he got on TV before was as a freaking jobber jobbing to new baby faces. I don't want that to happen again.
Yeah, so
he's too good. He's too charismatic. He's got everything you look for.
Right.
And he's even shown some sense of humor in some of his matches where at one point the guy that he was going against posed and he did a peck pop and a little smile. I was like, oh, he's a cheeky bugger. And it's like, you can't just take his partner away and say, okay, go screw yourself. We're going to put this guy in a faction. You're not going to get anything.
Oh, I certainly agree with you. That's the thing. I would want Ty Dillinger to be protected and taken care of.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, because he definitely has an upside. I think anybody who really,
I would be perfectly. I think that as much as I want both of those things, if I had to choose one, it would definitely be that one. I could deal with Angelo Dawkins getting watered down as long as Ty Dillinger got that singles push. That's the main thing.
Right. All right. Well, I'm glad we had a little mini discussion on the Shoot Nation because that is something I've been looking forward to. But then again, I've also been looking forward to Sami Callihan's debut. And how long have we been talking about that now?
What the heck is happening with him?
Apparently, he just came back from an injury or something. I don't even know anymore.
Oh, that's right.
I'm really hoping he debuts because I'm chomping at the bit now.
I don't know. I don't know, man. We'll have to wait and see.
But to get back on the show, we know that Lucha Dragons do beat Ty Dillinger and Jason Jordan here after another fun exhibition match.
Yep.
So what comes after this, Ashton?
Recap. This is the first time that we've ever gotten like a full on, like, let's just show you what happened the week before kind of thing. Very Raw-esque. I hope this doesn't start a trend, of the Becky, Bayley, Sasha, Charlotte situation from last week. I don't feel like I remember ever having this in-depth of a recap of something that happened this recently on NXT before.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting that they wanted to go that in depth with it and catch everybody like that up to speed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
although I will say, if we're gonna do it, I am very happy that we did it with the women's division.
Yeah, definitely. Love the shine that they're getting. Love how they're just taking stuff over, man. It's awesome. So Bayley comes out. She addresses the NXT universe. She says, "Look, I know Charlotte said that I should have stayed home and not to mess with Becky Lynch or Sasha. But, you know, I'm so used to bullies. I've been bullied every day of my life. I remember coming home in tears from school thanks to bullies. And my mom would always tell me, you got to go back tomorrow. You got to go back because all bullies are cowards." And, you know, Bayley says, you know, they are cowards and I'm going to do what's right. And then Becky and Sasha come out. And Sasha shoves Bayley, and then it just, Bayley's had enough, so she hits a shot on Sasha. Then Becky comes in on Bayley, and they just pretty much lay her out, attack her at the knee specifically, because I saw Bayley holding the knee. And yeah, I think the NXT crowd was doing like a, ooh, ah, kind of thing, like with the knee. So, I don't know.
Yeah. This, man, I gotta say, Bayley on the mic does absolutely nothing for me.
I have to agree with you. I felt this way for a while now, and I'm really glad that you said it first, because I just feel like really has no personality there on the microphone.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of hoping that gets fixed, because Bayley, I think, has a lot of likability, and if she could just transfer that to the microphone, you know, I think she would be golden. Yeah. You know, I think she'd really get to that next level, because that's the thing. As much as I may feel like about Charlotte on the mic, I even feel like maybe she's a little bit starting to get a little bit more charismatic on the microphone. Like,
well, and regardless of charisma, she seems like she commits more to what she says than Bayley. Whereas yeah. Bayley is like everything she says, it's like she's hesitant to even say it.
Yeah, you know what? I think the word I'm really looking for isn't even charisma, it's confidence. If
Bayley
was just confident on the microphone and owned what she said,
yeah,
like you said, I think she'd be going, because look, yes, she's adorable. Yes, she's fun. That's all great. But I think what she needs to be now, and what could really make her cross that threshold, she needs to be strong. And I feel like she is strong in some ways. I don't want to make it seem like, oh, Bayley's this weak, helpless woman. I don't mean that at all. But I mean strong in the sense that say what you mean what you say, go out and get it done. You know, like don't.
You know what, John? Though you said about how you don't want to try and make it feel like she's this weak, helpless woman. That really is how she's been portrayed lately. I mean, running off to Mama, aka the Champ, aka Charlotte, and crying about the fact that Sasha and Becky are bullying her. Like she really has started to come off as a bit of a crybaby lately.
And yeah, it's hard, man, because wrestling.
And then she comes out and cuts a promo about her mom telling her that bullies are cowards. Like, dude, you're an adult. Act like one.
I know. It's so hard, because when we watch wrestling, I think one of the things we love are the larger-than-life personalities doing things that we wish we could do in this world. And I think the discomfort with Bayley is it hits way too close to home. Whereas, in contrast, and it's funny that we're having this conversation, dude, because it was just on our Raw TWitWoW where you and I, especially you, because you put all the pieces together, were very praiseworthy of Eric Rowan, saying that he was going to be like every young kid's hero, because he's coming out and saying, I don't like bullies, because remember we upgraded, to a few words and a contraction, and he hits the spin kick to the Big Show. Like, that's taking care of business.
Yeah, but now here comes Bayley talking about how she's not even talking about how she has dealt with bullies in the past. She's just talking about how her mom told her to deal with bullies in the past. And then, not only is she basically saying that she's never actually done it before, but she knows how to take care of it, but she gets proven wrong instantly when Sasha and Becky come out and beat the crap out of her.
It really is like, and I hate to say this because, again, I feel like I'm taking so many unnecessary potshots at Bayley, but it's like when you watch those sitcoms or something and the kid goes up to their bully at the end of the show, my parents told me how to deal with you, and the bully just kind of looks aside like, dude, you serious?
Yeah.
And the kid ends up in the locker anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, great advice there. And see, that's the thing, because I like Bayley. It's nothing against her. I just want to make that explicitly clear, but she needs to be stronger. She needs to have that back.
I think she's going too much for relatability, and relatability only goes so far, and you don't want to be too relatable because you don't want to seem too human. These are supposed to be like superheroes. They're pro wrestlers. They're supposed to be larger than life, and Bayley has literally zero mystique as of probably last week when she got beat up and needed Mama Bear Charlotte to come out and help her, and then told her not to show up next week. And now, if she had any mystique left, now tonight she's talking about how she's growing up as a kid and her mommy tells her that she can stand up to a bully because they're cowards, and then she proceeds to get beat up by two bullies almost immediately. Yeah, there's nothing left that, like, there's no believability left for Bayley. I get that she's good in the ring, but there is no believability left for her.
I'm telling you, this discussion actually brings me back to one of our earliest NXT 12 reviews when you and I got back on the grid together, and I said in one of our like fantasy booking discussions that I would just have Bayley like shoot a scene, like a vignette or promo, whatever, in her bedroom, and she destroys like all of her wrestling possessions and stuff like that, and she just gives up being the fangirl and she toughens up. And I would still love something like that, and I feel like it's become even more relevant now, seeing what she's been subjected to lately, to just be like, you know what? I'm sick of this crap. You know, I'm living it. I don't no longer have to aspire to it anymore. I'm living it, and now I want to own it.
Right.
And then
but again, though, that's just more kind of spinning her wheels, because that's more of her not winning matches. You know what I mean? Like, that's more of her symbolically beating something up, but still, like, what are you going to do when Sasha and Becky show up?
Right.
Like, you can symbolically do anything you want, but if you're still getting beat up every time Sasha and Becky are in the room, nobody's going to buy you.
Right. I don't know, man. It'll be interesting, you know, what's going to happen in the fallout of our evolution, because you and I would find out that it's just Charlotte versus Sasha one-on-one.
Right.
Now, that's very interesting to me.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it, too, because you know how supportive I have really been, and you always, from the beginning, of Sasha Banks. I feel like you and I champion Sasha Banks more than most people who discuss NXT, at least from where I'm sitting.
More than everybody that I've ever seen discuss NXT.
Yeah, absolutely.
Save for maybe Alex Kozlov on AfterBuzz, but he barely ever even shows up. So, I mean, hey.
Right. And to me, I feel like, well, is it going to transition? Like, is Bayley going to find herself with the winner, whoever that is, and what implications will that have depending on who the winner of that match is, which, of course, we'll discuss that in depth when we get to our respective preview and predictions video for this show.
Yep.
But, yeah, Bayley's been iced out now. And to me, especially after losing to Becky Lynch, you know, the week before this episode tonight, she's got to do some climbing back up. And I hope she does it in a way that we can put stock back into her and say, yeah, she's going to be a future NXT Women's Champion. But you got to wonder, whoever comes out the winner of this encounter, has the ship sailed on Bayley here? Because with that recent booking, you know, it just makes you wonder, like, has her stock just dropped to that point?
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good for Bayley. It's not to say that I don't like her anymore, because she's still, I mean, like I said, she's still good in the ring. It's just, they're going to have to do a lot of repair work on her believability after this whole thing.
Right. So, I don't think there's really anything more to say about this segment. You want to move on?
Yeah, absolutely. Up next, we had a Kevin Owens vignette talking about how he discovered a long time ago that the best way for him to put food on the table for his family wasn't to work at a warehouse or at a 9-to-5 or anything like that. It was by fighting. and he talks a little bit more about how much he loves to fight, and then he says, "My name is Kevin Owens, and I am going to change everything."
See, now the funny thing is, and I think I'm putting way too much in this vignette here, but already with the mention of family and wanting to support them through fighting, it makes me believe that Kevin Owens is going to come in as a babyface.
Dude, it does not matter what these vignettes say. When he shows up after Sami Zayn has won a hard-fought NXT Championship victory and beats the living crap out of him, nobody's going to cheer him.
Right. Yeah. I mean, instant top heel, I think, if not close.
Yeah.
It's going to be so exciting. And that's what you've been saying consistently since we've known that Kevin Owens is coming. You know, his time is on the horizon. You've been saying.
I'm going to tell you right now, if we get to NXT TakeOver Our Evolution and Kevin Owens has a match and he doesn't end up showing up at the end of the night, I'm going to have that as a heat of the night.
Wow. That's a bit surprising. But I mean, yeah, I think given the history between the guys involved, and you know that the NXT audience is probably very rich in that history. I mean, my God, every time Sami Zayn comes out, it's the Olay chants.
Yeah.
So you know they know that history. They have to.
Absolutely.
And to not capitalize on it, I do think it's a mistake. But, I mean, who
And
knows?
I think that it's perfect to do it on NXT, too, because it's like you're getting it out of our systems. It's like as soon as one or both of these guys end up on the main roster, if they don't do this on NXT, everyone is going to be clamoring for them to do it on the main roster. Just like now, because of what happened on NXT and because it was the first time anyone had ever seen it, everyone now, as soon as Sami Zayn shows up on the main roster, everyone's going to be like, oh, when's he going to have his feud with Cesaro? Well, if you do this now and get it out of the way to the point that people already know, okay, they acknowledge that they have history together, we can move on, then these guys won't be on the main roster, and every 5 freaking minutes people are going to be talking about, oh, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens needs to happen on the main roster because it will have already happened on NXT, and people will just be like, oh, hey, if you want to see those two guys in a feud, just check this out on NXT.
I think it's taking control of consumer demand. You know, you give it to them preemptively, and then they're just going to want to ask for something else in instead. And I think that's what you should be desiring. So I hope what you've predicted plays out. I think NXT TakeOver Our Evolution is going to be one of those shows where the finish is just going to leave us all talking, you know, kind of like Survivor Series did, granted on a very different level, but still I think a similar effect where it's just like, holy crap, that was amazing. So I'll raise my glass to that.
Absolutely. All right. So up next, we had kind of a Natalya promo. She starts talking about Kid versus Balor, but Kid ends up being there and he cuts her off, says that Balor has an unmatchable amount of hype behind him and smoke and maybe even a few mirrors, but he's not as good as that hype would indicate, and he's going to prove that tonight.
Fact.
Yeah, he said fact a few times. I just didn't catch up with him.
Yeah, I know. Nobody can.
I love this, though, because Natalya is just like, are you going to give me a hug, Tyson? And he's just like, did you feed the cats earlier? And she's just like, well, yeah, of course I did. And he's like, okay, I have this match, and then I have to get on FaceTime with the cats, so I'll see you later.
The cats are so much more important to him than Natalya.
And they really should be.
And they should be. I was just about to ask, can you blame him? But you already answered the question. Oh, Natalya, you're the worst. Get murked. Anyway.
Did you just say get murked?
Yeah, I kind of like that term now. So, me and Cats are going to share it.
You know what that term means, right?
No.
It's like an urban, an urban slang word for killing someone.
Yeah, you know what? I figured that because murked, murder, like I kind of made the relationship.
Yeah.
But, you know, no apologies.
I don't blame you either. She really is the worst, though.
Was that, what was the next segment after this? Because I have an idea, but I don't want to jump the gun.
The Vaudevillains thing.
Oh, yes! I wanted to say the Vaudevillains segment. Oh, my God. This is so good. This is what I've wanted from their gimmick, dude.
Yeah, this was great. This was amazing.
It was an old-time silent film. Apparently, the commissioner calls the Vaudevillains.
The commissioner! Of course it's the commissioner.
And the Lucha Dragons are apparently robbing a bank with dynamite.
I know, right? Like, that's so I could say villainous, but that's kind of their thing.
I know, right? And they say the NXT Tag Team Championships are in danger. And then you see the
Screw the bank. It's all about those titles, man.
Exactly. So then they go over, they see those the dastardly duo of the Lucha Loompas, and standing by like, hee, we've got you now, vaudevillains. But then they tiptoe and they put the dynamite right next to them. They blow up. They claim the NXT Tag Team titles. And I think they said something about how what they did pays really well, or something like that. They just did a play on how they got the gold. And it was just fantastic. Like, I want more of this. If you're going to say that these two guys are from an era long gone but oft reminisced about, or, that they're throwbacks or whatever the case is, let them really immerse in that universe. I really love this. This was my segment of the night tonight. Made me all the more excited for their tag title match at NXT TakeOver Our Evolution.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
All right. I mean, anything you want to add, or should we move on to?
No, I mean this whole the Vaudevillains thing was just great.
Yeah.
That to me was the best thing that the Vaudevillains have done as a duo ever.
Oh, completely agree with you. Like I said, I want more of this. This is what I've been waiting for.
I think my favorite moment was the explosion, because it was this huge mushroom cloud explosion, and then you just see the Lucha Loompas with little X's over their eyes.
Yeah, and the Vaudevillains just laughing haughtily to themselves, like ha 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 ha.
Yeah,
and it's great, man. Just so good. All right. I guess with that said, it's our main event segment, correct?
It is. We got Tyson Kidd versus Finn Balor in a really solid match. We opened this thing on fire with the chain wrestling. It was good stuff. Tyson Kidd playing up the heel tactics all match long, from Balor trying to go for a suicide dive and Kidd pulls Natty in front of him so that Balor doesn't even make the jump. And then he has Balor hung up in a tree of woe and distracts the ref to give Natty an opening, and she doesn't do anything, and he starts yelling at her about it, and he's like, how difficult is it to do this? And he goes over and he starts yanking on Balor's head to pull it the way it's not supposed to bend, and just amazing. And then, I mean, at one point, Kidd had Balor in a headlock, and the crowd started chanting, Tyson's house, Tyson's house. And then that was a really small portion of the crowd, and commentary picked up on it. And then an even bigger portion of the crowd starts going, or actually they said Balor's house, which is just ridiculous, but Balor's house. And then when Balor finally got the upper hand, he did this thing where he like posed to the crowd. And he's like, yeah, whose house is it now, baby?
And then he looks to the ref. I think Wally has that headlock, right, or some submission. He's like, ask him in Irish.
That was so good.
Turning heel was the best thing Tyson Kidd could have ever
No, John. Going to NXT is the best thing Tyson Kidd's ever done.
Yeah, because he's been able to find a personality, and it's just wonderful. The guy has cats on his kick pads, and he owns it better than anyone else.
Yeah.
I
mean, of course he has cats on his kick pads. How else is he supposed to remember what they look like when he FaceTimes them?
I know, right? He's such a good parent. There was another good point in this match where I really thought Balor was going to get the double foot stomp like straight away. Tyson rolled out of the way, and he did a nice drop toe hold into the corner, and he followed that up with his slingshot leg drop across the back of Balor's neck. Tried to get the sharpshooter, but he got kicked into the corner there. And then, just at one point, that's right. Tyson tries going for the springboard elbow. Balor gets the knees up, and when Tyson's like in the seated position holding that arm, Balor with a devastating kick to the face.
Yeah, you think about Randy Orton's punt kick, and it's like, this looked like it was probably just as painful.
Yeah, he jacked Tyson's face, without question. And you could tell like he was going to go for the double stomp, second time, and there was no question about it. He was going to connect. But then trouble emerges.
The Ascension,
as they come in and they put the boots to Balor. Tyson just slides out of there because,
Boots to Balor, yeah.
Boots to Balor, yeah, I like that.
Boots to Balor. And you know what, though? That's not the only chant. Well, that chant wasn't actually happening. I just made that up. But there was a chant going, and it was the Ya chants that still very much exist.
Yeah, yeah. Crowd still loves the Ascension. I think there's still some partiality there. But then Hideo Itami emerges to even the odds, and a whole brawl just breaks out. And I love this because, our evolution is just in a few weeks. And you could have used this episode to maybe establish dominance with one of these teams, one of them standing tall over the other. These guys, they broke even. There really wasn't one that was stronger than the other when the numbers were both equal.
It felt like Balor was getting the upper hand on Victor and Connor was getting the upper hand on Itami. But if those would have switched, I don't know what the story would have been, because it seems like they're trying to establish that Balor is sort of the stronger competitor for that team, but Connor is the stronger competitor for that team. So it was kind of like strong on weak for both sides.
Right.
I don't think there's a single weak competitor between these four guys, but relatively.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I see exactly what you're saying. Officials come out, try and break it up. There were, I think, 2 other NXT competitors. And at first I thought they were trying to get in the fray because I heard...
I know, I was so confused. I had no clue what was going on there, but I guess that it was just like the idea of like the locker room clearing out to separate this fight.
Right.
Yeah. That's kind of how it came off to me, at least.
Yeah, me as well. And that's pretty much how the show closes, is just with this brawl. So the tag team division kind of headlines the show, closes it out.
Yeah.
Great stuff. And that's NXT.
Absolutely. Great show. Let's move on.
All right, yeah, let's move on to high spots and low shots. And my low shot is Marcus Louis.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Gets verbally massacred by Tyler Breeze, even though the NXT universe admittedly was very encouraging and very supportive, which surprised me because I know how over Breeze is with this same crowd.
Yeah.
But Marcus Louis didn't even get a right hand in. Nothing. I mean, Breeze hits him with the beauty shot, lays him out, so he gets his verbal taunting, and he gets the win to boot, which is great for Breeze, because I guess it keeps him strong whenever they want to put him back in the title picture, not losing to the likes of Louis. But,
you can describe this match as four words. Ready?
Yeah.
Beauty shot, pin, win.
There you go. And Marcus Louis just continues to struggle. I'm wondering if Sylvester Lafort is officially out of his line of sight, or if they're going to do something soon. But for right now, he's just going to have to accept being my low shot. Absolutely.
And my low shot, I think that I've done enough talking about why this person is my low shot, so I'm just going to say it, and we can move on. Bayley. That's enough said.
Perfect. Yeah, the segment we discussed, you articulated everything. So moving on, my high spot. This is where it gets you know what? I'm going to cheat here. My high spot's the Vaudevillains. I'm sorry.
How is that cheating?
I mean, because to me, they didn't really physically do anything.
No, but they still had one of the most entertaining segments of the night.
Yeah, I love the build that this tag team matchup at the next live special is getting. They had segment of the night to me. They had me smiling from ear to ear. I think finally they're really taking this gimmick to the next level. So yeah, I'm going to indulge in it. I'm going to say the Vaudevillains are my high spot.
Yeah. My high spot is Tyson Kidd, because even though he didn't technically win the match tonight, because I think that by technicality you would say that Balor won by DQ, he looked very competitive against this new hot talent that the WWE just brought in for NXT. And he managed to shut Natalya up not once but twice. And the best thing is he avoided the brawl at the end and got out of Dodge.
And do you know what every single one of those things that you just listed is?
Facts!
Exactly.
Yeah.
I ain't even going to add to that. You have any more comments you want to make about NXT before I close this out?
Absolutely not. This was fun.
All right, guys, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. Discuss on Tweetoff who rose to the occasion this week for you on NXT, who fell short of expectations, and we will see you again for our Monday Night Raw review. where the anonymous Raw General Manager returns. Hope you join us. Peace!